Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing this overall situation. We've been talking about it regarding the possible reimposition of quarantine. But something I noticed in some of the things we've been researching during reading on this stuff, but in a recent article from the Bangkok Post, bangkokpost.com, quote unquote, test and go country list to change. I thought this was really telling because they were quoting the chief of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration Operation Base, and they were talking to him, and basically this sentence stuck out to me. If the risk of further infections is considered high, this scheme may be suspended completely. And we've done other videos on the possibility of suspension of test and go, but my question is, when did infection become the issue? I thought the issue with respect to this overall situation was whether or not people were dying. You know, in the past, a year ago, a year and a half ago, you know, that was the issue. It was, oh man, this thing is bad and it can kill people, so we need to do what we can to mitigate people dying. Yeah, understand that, you know, disease, nobody, you know, you don't want to create a situation that propagates or sort of, you know, causes people to get sick. I understand that. But, I mean, to me, this whole notion that we need to look into serious restrictions on travel into the country, especially at a time when tourism is just starting to sort of bounce back, what little bounce we're currently seeing, but bounce it is. You know, it's good to see tourism starting to, you know, sort of rebound. You know, the question posed is, you know, are infections, especially with this Omicron situation where we're seeing data worldwide which suggest, I mean, out of South Africa, we've seen things from their public health authorities which have said, you know, and I'm not going to get into quoting all this stuff, and I don't even want to go that deep into this because it's not really within my bailiwick, but, you know, where they've said, hey, yeah, it's more transmissible, but it's far less lethal. You know, and that, it's my understanding that's kind of the way of it, it's kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to, you know, viruses. They become more transmissible over time, but they become far less deadly. You know, the question I posed, first of all, and I posed it in other videos, is, you know, in a cost-benefit analysis, is the whole scale of, you know, the wholesale evisceration of the economy worth the quote-unquote benefit of a few less cases or just less infections, especially if quote-unquote infections might be asymptomatic, you know, and we're seeing that they're far less lethal. You know, it may be, I'm just basically posing the question, when did infection become what we were fighting off? I thought we were trying to mitigate, you know, substantial suffering and death, not so much just infection, just numbers of infections. Again, I don't particularly know the answer to that, but I do think, and I think it's worth asking, you know, why has infection become what we're looking at, where it seems like, for lack of a better term, the goalposts on this have consistently moved. You know, where it started off and it was death, and now it's infection. You know, I mean, would we have put Thailand, you know, would policymakers, if you go back to mid-March 2020, would policymakers have put Thailand through this, gone through a lockdown, if we were looking at the same data that we're looking at now with respect to Omicron?